Now I will tell you about the philosopher so dangerous that emperors spent centuries trying to delete him from history and failed spectacularly. Picture this: 213 BCE, Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the man who built the Great Wall, orders the greatest act of censorship in human history. Burn the books, all of them. Confucian texts, burned. Historical records, burned. Philosophy scrolls, burned. Scholars who protested, buried alive. Over 460 intellectuals executed. Thousands of texts reduced to ash. But one text survived. One philosophy they couldn't kill: the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu's 5,000 characters. Why? Because you can't burn what's already everywhere. You can't erase what people have memorized. You can't kill an idea that lives in whispers. This is the story of why emperors feared Lao Tzu more than any army, and why they lost the war. The most dangerous idea in history. To understand why Lao Tzu was so threatening, you need to understand what he taught. On the surface, Taoism seems harmless, peaceful even. Go with the flow. Be like water. Don't force things, but read deeper, and you find a philosophy that demolishes every power structure. Here's what Lao Tzu actually said: the more laws you create, the more thieves you produce. The best government is one that governs least. The more weapons a state possesses, the more troubled it becomes. When the Tao is lost, we invent righteousness. When righteousness is lost, we invent ritual. Ritual is the beginning of chaos. These aren't mystical poems. These are political grenades. Every sentence attacks the foundation of imperial power. Laws don't create order. They create criminals. Big government creates problems, not solutions. Military buildup breeds instability. Ritual and ceremony are symptoms of decay. If people believed this, empires would collapse, and emperors knew it. The first purge. Qin Shi Huang Emperor. Qin unified China through brutal force. His method? Absolute control. Legalism was his philosophy. Strict laws, harsh punishments, total surveillance, no dissent. It worked, kind of. He conquered all rival states and created the first unified Chinese empire. But there was a problem. People kept reading Lao Tzu, kept questioning authority, kept asking, why do we need so many laws? Why must we obey without question? Confucian scholars criticized the emperor's tyranny, but at least Confucianism supported hierarchy and order. Taoism? Taoism questioned everything. So in 213 BCE, Qin Shi Huang made his move. Burn all books except those on medicine, agriculture, and divination. The burning of the books began. Libraries torched, scholars executed, knowledge erased, but Taoism survived. Why? Because Taoist texts were short, memorizable. The Tao Te Ching is only 5,000 characters. You can memorize it in weeks. Confucian classics were massive, thousands of pages, hard to hide, easy to burn, but a farmer could recite the Tao Te Ching from memory. A merchant could hide it in his mind. A hermit in the mountains could teach it without a single scroll. You can't burn memory. You can't execute ideas. The second purge. Han Dynasty. After Qin collapsed, the Han Dynasty rose. They were smarter. Instead of banning books, they promoted Confucianism as the official state philosophy. Brilliant strategy. Make Confucianism the path to power. Want to become a government official? Study Confucian texts? Want status? Follow Confucian rituals. Meanwhile, quietly discourage Taoism. Not through violence, through irrelevance. Taoism, that's for hermits and mystics, not for serious men of ambition. It worked, sort of. Confucianism became the establishment. Every bureaucrat, every scholar, every ambitious man studied Confucius. But in their hearts, they were Taoists. By day, they performed Confucian rituals. By night, they read Lao Tzu. By day, they climbed hierarchies. By night, they dreamed of mountains and freedom. Public Confucianism, private Taoism. The empire couldn't erase what people felt in their souls. The third purge, cultural revolution. Fast forward to 1966. Communist China. Mao Zedong launches the Cultural Revolution. Destroy the four olds. Old customs, old culture, old habits, old ideas. Red Guards ransacked temples, burned religious texts, destroyed ancient artifacts. Taoism, prime target. Taoist temples demolished, monks persecuted, texts burned again. For a decade, China waged war on its own philosophical heritage. And guess what happened? Taoism survived, again. Because by this point, the Tao Te Ching wasn't just a Chinese text. It had spread worldwide. Translations existed in dozens of languages. Western philosophers studied it. Counterculture movements embraced it. You can't erase what's already global. Why emperors feared Lao Tzu. Here's the core issue. Every power structure needs people to believe in the system. Kings need subjects to believe monarchy is natural. Dictators need citizens to believe obedience is virtue. Capitalists need workers to believe hierarchy is meritocracy. And Lao Tzu says, all systems are illusions. Let go. Flow. Don't serve the machine. That's terrifying to power, because if people actually believed Lao Tzu, they'd stop craving status and hierarchy. They'd question laws instead of blindly obeying. They'd prioritize freedom over security. They'd choose simplicity over accumulation. They would see control for what it is. A Taoist empire could never exist, because Taoists don't seek power. They don't crave dominance. They don't need systems to tell them how to live. They move with life, and those who flow cannot be controlled. Why Lao Tzu could never be erased. Rulers made one mistake. They tried to oppose the Tao with strength, but strength moves against the Tao. The gentle overcomes the rigid. The yielding surpasses the forceful. Water does not confront stone. It flows around it, and in time it prevails. Taoism is water. Remove the writings, and the words remain. Silence the teachers, and the ideas continue. Suppress the philosophy, and it returns as art, healing, and movement. Try to forbid it, and it only grows. Every attempt to suppress Taoism only made it stronger, because Taoism doesn't rely on institutions. It needs no temples, authorities, or approval. It lives in everyday choices. The farmer who follows the seasons, the artist who creates from intuition, the martial artist who yields to prevail, the one who chooses peace over power. That cannot be erased, because it lives in human nature. The modern purge, still ongoing. Think this is history? Modern systems still try to push Lao Tzu aside, not by removing books, but by overwhelming attention, by flooding life with endless productivity, do more, go faster, obsession with control, measure everything, material pursuit. More means success, complexity worship, more sophisticated, better. Modern capitalism needs you to believe more is better, control everything, never stop grinding. Lao Tzu whispers, less is more. Let go. Rest is productive. Guess which message gets promoted? The system amplifies what serves the system. And Taoism doesn't serve the system. It liberates you from it. Why Lao Tzu always wins. Here's the truth emperors never understood. You can't erase what's true. Gravity is true. You can deny it, but you'll still fall. The Tao's the same. It's not a belief system. It's a description of how reality works. Water flows downhill. That's Tao. Trees grow toward light. That's Tao. Force creates resistance. That's Tao. Trying harder sometimes makes things worse. That's Tao. These aren't opinions. These are observations of nature. And you can't legislate nature. You can't ban physics. You can't execute truth. Every emperor who tried to erase Lao Tzu was fighting reality itself. Reality always wins. The final irony emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who burned the books, died searching for immortality. His empire collapsed immediately after his death. The Han Dynasty emperors who promoted Confucianism are remembered mainly for their bureaucracy. Mao Zedong, who tried to destroy old culture, is now part of history museums. Every empire that fought Lao Tzu is gone, but Lao Tzu, still here, 2,600 years later. The Tao Te Ching is one of the most translated texts in human history, second only to the Bible. Why? Because Lao Tzu didn't build an empire. He didn't create an institution. He didn't demand followers. He wrote 5,000 characters, climbed on a buffalo, and disappeared. And by disappearing, he became eternal. Because ideas that don't attach to power structures can't be killed by destroying power structures. That's the ultimate Taoist paradox. The way to become immortal is to let go of everything, including the desire for immortality. What this means for you. You're living through the same battle. Modern systems want to erase Taoist wisdom from your life. They want you stressed, striving, controlling, accumulating. Because stressed people consume more. Striving people work harder. Controlling people are predictable. Taoist people, ungovernable. Because stressed people consume more. Striving people work harder. Controlling people are predictable. Taoist people, ungovernable. So here's your rebellion. Stop forcing. Start flowing. Stop accumulating. Start simplifying. Stop controlling. Start trusting. Be the thing emperors couldn't erase. Be water. Be simple. Be free. Emperors tried for 2,600 years to erase Lao Tzu. They all failed because you can't kill what was never born. You can't erase what simply is.